everyone. Welcome to the very first episode of the Remodel Your SEO Podcast. I'm your host, Danielle Fateau, and I'm joined today by my colleague, Nicole Raymond. Hi, Nicole.
Hello. I'm so excited to be here and to talk with you today about SEO. I know for a lot of home builders and remodelers, SEO can feel like the elusive yeti. You know, they hear about SEO, they know that they should be doing it, but they're not really sure what it is, and they don't really know what to focus on. Seems like there's a lot of info out there on SEO, but maybe a little too much.
I think you're right. There's a lot of information related to SEO and a lot of sometimes conflicting information on the internet, which is exactly why we've launched this season, to add to the mess. No, not really. My true goal is to help break down the overwhelming scope of SEO into actionable steps for home builders and remodelers to specifically take to rebuild your SEO, get seen, and get leads.
So what the heck is SEO?
In its simplest form, search engine optimization, or SEO, is the process of improving the technical aspects of your website, your content, and your overall online presence to improve your business's visibility in search engines like Google, Bing, DuckDuckGo, etc. There are three main buckets we can organize the many activities that search engine optimizers, aka SEOs, perform into technical SEO, local SEO, and non-technical SEO.
I see. So basically, SEO helps a website show up in search engines, and when someone searches, they get found. Could you explain the three buckets of SEO a little bit more?
Sure. So technical SEO is related to the structure of your website and your content therein. Sitemap and indexing settings, as well as heading structure and the file sizes, fall into this category. Oftentimes, these activities are what people think of when they think of SEO, but there are more foxes in the hole than just that. There's also local SEO, which is related to your geographical standing amongst your competitors on the internet. There's way more on this topic than we have time for today, so we're going to devote an entire episode to local SEO tactics you as a home builder or remodeler should incorporate into your online marketing strategy to explain it more so you can understand what it is. Then we have my personal favorite, non-technical SEO, which is strongly tied to content marketing. This is because the emphasis of non-technical SEO is to craft quality content that answers user intent. With the bucket of non-technical SEO is where keyword optimization and linking strategies live. We'll talk about specific tactics for implementing non-technical SEO content strategy also in another episode.
Sweet. Okay, so technical SEO is the back end of a website. It's information like heading structure and loading speed. And then local SEO has to do with your business's location information throughout the internet. And then non-technical SEO is all about user experience and answering user intent for search queries.
That's pretty accurate at a high-level view. I would clarify that technical SEO does include some on-page website elements as well, and that local SEO also heavily related to your non-technical SEO content.
Okay, so can you do just one type of SEO, or do you need to do all three?
Great question. All aspects of SEO are interconnected. Without the proper foundation of your website's technical structure in the back end and via on-page elements, and even your hosting server structure, any content you publish related to your non-technical SEO efforts and local SEO efforts won't reach their potential. Without your non-technical SEO efforts, namely through consistently publishing and promoting quality content, your technical SEO efforts, where you, your marketers, and website developers slave over every heading and every image size and every user experience choice, may not even matter. This is because search engines like Google have to be able to analyze user interactions with your content in order to evaluate it and evaluate if it answers user intent and provides a good user experience. If you're not promoting your pages for humans to interact with, search engines won't have the data they need to determine the indexability of your content. And local SEO is really important for qualifying leads and improving visibility in local searches. If you're a home builder or remodeler in Dallas, Texas, you don't need to be visible to people looking for a kitchen remodeling company in Arizona. It's also important because third-party directories and local aggregators are going to be scraping your information anyways, so it needs to be accurate. Again, we'll talk more about this in another episode.
It sounds like businesses really do need to focus on all three then.
Definitely. Technical, non-technical, and local SEO all work in tandem. It's kind of like row teams. If only one guy is busting his butt and rowing, the boat will still move. But if everyone is in sync, the boat will move a lot farther, a lot faster. Your business is also in the race against your competitors. Now, you can't control their SEO, but you can work to improve yours. It's important to remember that your rankings are not in a vacuum. You're at the whim of the search engines, especially Google, as well as competing for digital space against your competitors, who may or may not have a strong SEO strategy or team.
Okay, that all makes sense. So why does SEO matter for home builders and remodelers specifically?
Sure. If you want to be found in 2020, you have to have a solid online presence and a good reputation. Oftentimes, we have remodelers and home builders come to us wanting to skyrocket their digital marketing. So we look first at their foundation. And what we often find when we do a bit of preliminary digging is that there's not even a good foundation with which to build off of. When that happens, we have to do some cleanup and sometimes relay the entire foundation to get the company in a place where we can implement a solid, non-technical SEO content marketing strategy that will actually perform in search engines. And that's why next week we'll drop a pod on common mistakes to avoid and how to crush your technical SEO. I'm Danielle.
I'm Nicole.
And we're here to help you remodel your SEO, get you found, and get you leads. We'll see you next Thursday.